The little girl who couldn't afford cricket shoes became the island's biggest success story. This is how Mandy Mangru went from sleeping on floors to owning a real estate empire worth millions. Mandy Mangru was born on March 15, 1991, in the small fishing village of Blanchisseuse, Trinidad, where the Atlantic Ocean crashed against rocky shores and opportunities seemed as distant as the horizon. Her father worked as a fisherman, pulling nets before sunrise and returning after sunset with barely enough catch to feed the family. Her mother cleaned houses for wealthy families in Port of Spain, taking 2 buses each way and earning just enough to keep the lights on. They lived in a small wooden house with 3 rooms for 7 people. Mandy, her 4 siblings, and her parents squeezed into that tiny space. The roof leaked when it rained. The walls had gaps that let mosquitoes inside at night. Young Mandy slept on a thin mattress on the floor, sharing it with 2 sisters. But poverty couldn't kill the fire burning inside her. Every day after school, while other girls played with dolls or jumped rope, Mandy played cricket with the village boys on the beach. She used a piece of driftwood as a bat and a taped tennis ball for bowling. The boys tried to keep her out at first. Girls didn't play cricket in Blanchisseuse. Cricket was for boys who dreamed of playing for West Indies someday. But Mandy refused to accept their rejection. She showed up every single day, demanding they let her play. Finally, just to stop her from bothering them, they agreed. She picked up the makeshift bat and smashed the ball so hard it landed in the ocean. The boys' mouths dropped open. From that day forward, Mandy Mangru was the best cricketer on that beach. At age 10, a teacher at Blanchisseuse Government Primary School noticed Mandy's athletic ability during sports day. She ran faster than everyone. She threw farther than boys twice her size. The teacher, Mrs. Patterson, invited her to join an after-school cricket program she was starting for poor children. Mandy's parents couldn't afford cricket equipment, but Mrs. Patterson provided everything: bat, ball, pads, even shoes. For the first time in her life, Mandy held a real cricket bat instead of driftwood. She held it like it was made of gold. Mrs. Patterson saw something special in young Mandy. She wasn't just talented, she had an intensity, a hunger that couldn't be taught. While other kids laughed and messed around during practice, Mandy focused on every ball like her life depended on it. Because deep in her heart, she knew it did. Cricket was her only path out of poverty, her only chance to give her family a better life. Mrs. Patterson began training her privately after regular practice, teaching her proper batting technique, footwork, and game strategy. She became Mandy's first mentor, the person who believed in her when nobody else did. At age 12, Mandy played for her school at the North Regional Primary School's cricket tournament. She scored 127 runs in the final match against a school from Port of Spain, smashing boundaries that had people cheering wildly. She also took 4 wickets with her medium-pace bowling. Her performance earned her the tournament's Most Valuable Player award. More importantly, scouts from Trinidad and Tobago's youth cricket program noticed her. They invited her to trials for the national under-15 girls team. Her parents couldn't afford transportation to Port of Spain for the trials. The bus fare cost more than they earned in 2 days. Mandy was heartbroken. She had finally gotten her chance, and poverty would steal it away. But Mrs. Patterson wouldn't let that happen. She paid for Mandy's bus fare and went with her to the trials at Queen's Park Oval. Standing on those historic grounds where test matches had been played, where legends like Brian Lara had batted, Mandy felt overwhelmed. But when her turn came to bat, she blocked out the fear and played with confidence that shocked the selectors. She scored 68 runs and took 3 wickets during the trial match. They picked her immediately for Trinidad and Tobago's under-15 team. That selection changed everything. Suddenly, people in Blanchisseuse looked at her differently. Her father cried when he heard the news. He had spent his entire life pulling nets from the ocean, breaking his back for pennies. Now his daughter had a chance at something better. Between ages 15 and 18, Mandy Mangru dominated youth cricket across Trinidad and Tobago. She became a genuine all-rounder, someone who could bat powerfully and bowl smartly. At 16, she scored 284 runs in the regional under-19 women's tournament and took 23 wickets, leading Trinidad and Tobago to the championship. Her performances earned her a spot on the West Indies under-19 Women's World Cup squad in 2009. Traveling to Bangladesh for the tournament, Mandy experienced culture shock. She had never left Trinidad before. She had never been on an airplane. But on the field, she felt completely comfortable. In the tournament, she scored 312 runs and took 15 wickets. She hit 2 half-centuries and 1 century against Pakistan in the semi-final. West Indies didn't win the tournament, but Mandy Mangru showed everyone she was a future star. Her performances caught attention from senior national team selectors. In 2010, at age 19, she got her first call to the West Indies senior women's cricket team for a series against England. Her international debut came on June 18, 2010, in an ODI at Kensington Oval, Barbados. Batting at number 5, she scored 43 runs off 52 balls, striking the ball cleanly and showing no fear against England's experienced bowlers. She also bowled 6 overs, taking 1 wicket for 34 runs. West Indies lost the match, but Mandy Mangru had arrived on the international stage. Between 2010 and 2024, Mandy Mangru became one of West Indies women's cricket's most consistent players. She played for West Indies in 96 one-day internationals, 84 T20 internationals, and 17 test matches. In ODI cricket, she scored 2,147 runs at an average of 34.13 with 3 centuries and 18 50s. She also took 87 wickets. In T20 cricket, she scored 1,623 runs with 11 50s and claimed 64 wickets. In Test cricket, she scored 1,156 runs with 2 centuries and 7 50s and took 38 wickets. These numbers made her one of Caribbean cricket's greatest female all-rounders. Her greatest ODI performance came against Australia in 2016 at the ICC Women's Championship in Jamaica. Chasing 267 to win, West Indies looked defeated at 89 for 5. Mandy walked to the crease with her team falling apart. She played the innings of her life, scoring 142 not out off 138 balls with 15 fours and 4 sixes. She batted with controlled aggression, mixing defense with powerful shots. West Indies won by 2 wickets with 4 balls left. The crowd at Sabina Park went crazy. Mandy had delivered one of the greatest chases in West Indies women's cricket history. In T20 cricket, she became absolutely essential. Against England in 2019 during the T20 World Cup in the West Indies, she scored 78 not out off 49 balls, smashing England's bowlers everywhere at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Her innings included 9 fours and 3 sixes. West Indies won easily, and Mandy's performance became the tournament's defining moment. Her Test cricket performances earned special respect. Against South Africa in 2022, she scored 167 runs in the first innings, batting for 6 hours. Her century was only the 4th by a West Indies woman in Test cricket. When she reached her 100, she raised her bat to the sky, tears running down her face, thinking about that little girl from Blanchisseuse who played with driftwood. Beyond international cricket, Mandy did well in franchise leagues worldwide. She played 4 seasons in Australia's Women's Big Bash League with the Sydney Thunder. She played 3 seasons in England's Kia Super League with the Yorkshire Diamonds. She dominated the Caribbean Premier League Women's Tournament for 6 seasons with the Trinidad Knight Riders. These franchise contracts paid much better than playing for West Indies. A single WBBL season earned her about 75,000 Australian dollars, more than 2 years playing for West Indies. These opportunities completely changed her financial situation. But franchise cricket taught Mandy tough lessons about professional sports. She watched talented teammates get dropped instantly when their form dipped. She saw careers end suddenly from injuries. She witnessed former stars struggle financially after retirement because they had spent everything during their playing years. They bought expensive cars that lost value quickly. They supported their whole extended families without planning for their own futures. When cricket ended, the income stopped, but the expenses kept going. Several former teammates contacted her years later, desperate and broke, asking for loans they could never repay. Those conversations changed Mandy's thinking completely. In 2014, during the off-season in Australia, she went to a property investment seminar in Sydney that a teammate invited her to. The seminar taught basics of real estate investing, how to look at properties, get loans, manage rentals, and build wealth. Something clicked inside Mandy's mind that day. She realized professional athletes earned concentrated income during short careers. Most wasted it on temporary pleasures. But smart athletes could turn athletic earnings into permanent wealth through strategic investing. She started studying everything about property investment. She read books by successful real estate investors. She took online courses about analyzing properties and markets. She listened to podcasts during long flights to cricket matches. While teammates shopped and partied, Mandy studied business and investing. Her teammates thought she was boring. They mocked her for not enjoying her success. She ignored their criticism. She had grown up watching her parents work themselves to exhaustion for nothing. She refused to waste her cricket earnings on temporary satisfaction. In 2015, Mandy bought her first property, a two-bedroom apartment in Arima, Trinidad, for $95,000. The apartment needed work, but it was in a good location near schools and shopping centers. She spent 2 months fixing it up herself with help from her father and brothers. When finished, she rented the apartment to a young family for $100 monthly. After mortgage payments and expenses, she cleared about $200 monthly. More importantly, she owned real estate, property that would increase in value over time while making money. That first purchase taught her important lessons. She learned about checking tenants, lease agreements, property upkeep, and Trinidad's rental laws. Her first tenants caused problems, paying late and damaging the property. She learned to check tenants carefully, require proper deposits, and enforce lease rules firmly. She found out which contractors worked reliably and which ones charged too much. These lessons came from experience, not textbooks. Feeling encouraged, she bought a second property in 2016, a small house in San Fernando for $128,000. She rented it to a school teacher for $350 monthly, making positive cash flow right away. Now she owned 2 properties producing rental income while she traveled the world playing cricket. Her cricket salary covered living expenses while her properties built wealth quietly. Between 2016 and 2020, Mandy carefully expanded her property portfolio. She bought a commercial unit in a Chaguanas shopping plaza for $145,000, which she rented to a phone repair business for $1,500 monthly. She bought a 3-bedroom house in Cuba for $175,000, which she rented to an oil company manager for $2,100 monthly. She purchased a beachfront lot in Mayaro for $118,000, raw land she planned to develop eventually. Her international cricket career gave her unique advantages for property investing. She traveled to 17 countries, studying different real estate markets everywhere she went. In 2018, she made a bold move, buying an apartment in Barbados for $245,000. Barbados had stronger property rights and attracted wealthier tourists than Trinidad. The 2-bedroom apartment made rental income of $22,200 monthly from seasonal tourists and international professionals. She now owned properties in 2 countries, spreading out her portfolio geographically. By 2020, Mandy's property portfolio included 8 properties worth about $1.2 million. Her monthly rental income exceeded $11,000. After covering all expenses, she made roughly $5,800 monthly in passive income, almost double her cricket salary. At age 29, she had built more wealth than most Trinidadians made in lifetimes. Yet nobody outside her family knew about her real estate empire. She kept it completely secret, avoiding attention that might bring jealousy or crime. In March 2024, at age 33, Mandy Mangru announced her retirement from international cricket. The announcement surprised Caribbean cricket fans. She was still fit and playing well, capable of continuing several more years. But Mandy had made her decision carefully. Her body showed wear from 14 years of professional cricket. Her shoulder needed regular therapy. Her knees hurt constantly. More importantly, her property business needed full-time attention. She had opportunities to expand a lot, but managing properties while traveling constantly for cricket became impossible. After retirement, Mandy attacked property investing with the same intensity she brought to cricket. Within 18 months, her portfolio grew from 8 properties to 15. She bought a 4-bedroom house in Barbados for $425,000. She bought 2 apartments in Grenada for $198,000 and two $15,000. She got a small guest house in Tobago for $285,000. She purchased 3 townhouses in central Trinidad for $465,000 combined. Her boldest move came in late 2024. She bought a struggling beachfront restaurant in Maracas Bay, Trinidad, for $680,000. The restaurant sat on prime real estate but had been badly managed for years. She spent $175,000 fixing it completely, upgrading the kitchen, redesigning the dining area, hiring a professional chef, and putting in proper management systems. The renovated restaurant, called Mangru's by the Bay, opened in January 2025 to immediate success. It now makes monthly revenue over $35,000, making it her most profitable single investment. As of 2025, Mandy Mangru's real estate portfolio stands at about $2.8 million across 15 properties in 3 Caribbean countries. The portfolio makes monthly rental income over $1,800. After all expenses, she makes roughly $1,000 to $200 monthly in passive income. Her restaurant adds another $12,000 monthly profit. Combined with endorsement deals and cricket commentary work, her total net worth is estimated at $3.2 million, making her one of Trinidad's wealthiest young women and certainly one of the richest female cricketers from the Caribbean. Despite her wealth, Mandy lives relatively modestly. She lives in a beautiful 4-bedroom house she built in Blanchisseuse, the same village where she grew up poor. The house cost $485,000 to build and sits on a hillside overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. It has modern amenities, a home gym, a home office for managing her properties, and a guest cottage for family. But it's comfortable rather than showy. She wanted to stay in her community rather than moving to fancy neighborhoods where wealthy people isolated themselves. She drives a 2023 Toyota Land Cruiser, practical for Trinidad's roads and useful for checking properties. She wears quality clothing, but nothing too designer or expensive. She eats regularly at local restaurants serving traditional Trinidadian food. Friends joke that she dresses like she's still poor. She responds that wealth gives security and freedom, not an obligation to waste money impressing strangers. Her luxuries focus on experiences and family. She built her parents a new house in Blanchisseuse, replacing the leaking wooden structure from her childhood. The 3-bedroom house has solid construction, modern appliances, and ocean views. Watching her father cry while touring his new home gave her more satisfaction than any cricket trophy. She pays for her siblings' education and helps support several nieces and nephews. She takes her family on vacations twice yearly, creating memories they never imagined possible during poverty. Mandy spends a lot of time mentoring young female cricketers about financial literacy and career planning. She speaks regularly at cricket academies across Trinidad and the Caribbean, teaching teenage girls about saving, investing, and planning beyond sports. She shares her story honestly, how she saved hard while teammates spent carelessly. She shows them her property portfolio, proving smart investing creates lasting wealth. Many young players contact her privately, asking for advice about managing their first professional contracts. She particularly focuses on helping young female athletes from poor backgrounds like hers. These athletes face big pressure to support their whole extended families right away after signing contracts. Within months, entire salaries disappear supporting dozens of people. She teaches them to help families strategically rather than creating dependency. She explains how building wealth first lets you give greater help later. She also mentors people wanting to invest in property beyond sports. She runs workshops in Port of Spain teaching real estate basics to young professional women, teachers, nurses, accountants, small business owners. Several workshop students have bought their first investment properties following her guidance. She plans to start the Mandy Mangru Foundation in 2026, giving cricket equipment, coaching, scholarships, and financial literacy education to poor Caribbean girls. She believes cricket gave her discipline and opportunities that let her succeed in business. She wants other poor girls to get those same life-changing benefits. She's currently writing a book scheduled to come out in 2026 called From Driftwood to Dynasty, a Caribbean cricket star's guide to building wealth. The book will tell her journey from Blanchisseuse, poverty through international cricket to property success. Mandy Mangru's story matters because it challenges what people think about Caribbean athletes and money. The common story says athletes waste earnings and end up broke after retirement. Mandy's journey proves Caribbean athletes have amazing business abilities when given proper education and mentorship. Her competitive drive, mental toughness, and ability to perform under pressure moved smoothly from cricket to property investing. The girl from Blanchisseuse, who played cricket with driftwood, now owns a $3.2 million empire. She dominated cricket fields worldwide, Now she's dominating business, building wealth that will last for generations while inspiring countless young women to dream bigger. Subscribe to see how champions turn athletic success into lasting empires.